Okay.
All right, we are good.
Okay. So hi, everyone. My name's Lieutenant Robert Elmore. I got a proper slide to kind of introduce myself, but just kind of wanted to lay the basis here of why we're here. So we do have a PowerPoint. We don't want to death by PowerPoint anyone. So, we'll get through it, and then, we're really here to kind of bring some awareness about the program and, talk about maybe, our experiences and answer any questions that you might have. I'll shift over to the PowerPoint here for some further introduction. All right, can people see this? Are we okay? All right, I'll take that as a yes. Yeah, so we're here obviously with the U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Fan and I both went through the nuclear program ourselves and are both submarine officers. We obviously have nuclear reactors both on our submarines and our aircraft carriers, as shown by this slide. So as I mentioned, Lieutenant Robert Elmore from Richmond, Virginia. I got a BS in physics myself from a much smaller school than y'all are at. It's Virginia Military Institute. I did the ROTC program there. I actually didn't know this program existed, or else I would have definitely taken advantage of it. But we'll get into the reasons why. And then, so I did my nuclear training. There's a school that everyone goes to in Charleston, South Carolina. And then after that school, you'll go to a land-based reactor to get some hands-on training. And for me, that was in upstate New York. And then following my training, I went to a ship, the USS West Virginia. That's based out of Kings Bay, Georgia. Spent 3 years on board there, and we'll be able to kind of get into what submarine life is like and what it's like to work aboard a submarine.
All right. Okay, thanks for that. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Lieutenant Fan. They just call me Tuan. That's my first name. So, just real quick for rephrase the presentations. So yeah, we both spent working very involved with nuclear and nuclear Navy. And so, the point of the presentation is we're just going to talk for a few minutes because, there's like, I think 36 slides, something on this presentation, and it could take us a while to get through it. So if you have any question at all, do, come up with it, and then just, maybe chime in and then ask your question right away. We're going to pause for each of the slides just to have, you have a chance to ask your questions. Yeah, I think it's a unique opportunity for anybody who still in school, maybe looking to get ahead in the civilian world, getting ahead in your technical career. We're here to just kind of bring awareness to the program. Obviously, you can't take advantage of something that you don't know about. So, hopefully you guys can learn something from this. And of course, we're the technical expert, both about the program and the actual jobs later on. So any questions is fair game for us. So yeah, originally from Albuquerque, New Mexico. So got a BS for chemical engineering, University of New Mexico in 2012. So I've been in the Navy for a little bit over 10 years now, including the time that I spent in the program. So we're going to talk more about that later, but you can start applying for the program while you're in school, and you have up to 30 months from graduation to be in the program and be basically on our payroll and have all the active duty benefits available to you. So we can talk about that later on. But yeah, so I served formally for my sea tour on USS Pasadena as a fast attack submarine, stationed out of San Diego from 2015 to 2018. And on that, I did 2 Western Pacific deployments. So we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between different platforms of submarines we have. But for mine, since I deploy, we actually go to foreign ports. So this is actually a picture of our submarine in the port of Chinhae in South Korea. And if you squint really hard, you can see me on top of the sail there between those the two little sticks coming out of the periscope. So yeah, so it's definitely a fun time. So we'll go more about it later. All right, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so just to kind of establish the overall, start of the program, the nuclear reactors, were being developed in the 50s, but they didn't really become their own program, the Naval Reactors Program, until the 80s with an executive order. So Admiral Rickover, you might hear his name come up, is the father of the program, but Naval Reactors is really the program name, and this executive order gave us basically the responsibility to create the Navy's nuclear propulsion, program. So Naval Reactors. So here's just a couple stats. How many submarines we have, aircraft carriers, all the operational reactors. And the Naval Reactors is quite an elite organization. We were called upon to help out with the Fukushima reactor accident because of the Naval Reactors track record and how we do business here in the nuclear Navy to ensure the safety, both of, because we're bringing these ships into our ports and into foreign ports, right? So safety is obviously the number one concern with utilizing these reactors.
Yeah, hey, this is real quick, and I want to add on this slide. So you can see we have a lot of submarines, and then they station all over the ports of the U.S. and some ports in foreign ports, and you never hear about anything, accidents or any kind of incidents that kind of occur, and we take that reputation. We want to uphold that reputation very seriously, and so that's the whole idea of the let's say cradle to grave. We're pretty much embracing that ideal, so that we'll take care of everything. So then we ensure that nothing goes wrong, and everyone coming in from designing of the reactor, from operation, from regulating how it should be run, into training the personnel, and finally like going through this program. That's one of the steps. So that's why we're doing this.
Yeah. So the Naval Reactors has a group of engineers which will actually go out into the mines where they pull ore from and watch it as it's melted and roll bonded into the reactor plant materials that we use on our submarines and aircraft carriers. So they really do a QA, as Tuan said, from cradle to grave. And then once everything's actually built and up and running, they'll go out to the ships and make sure that we're using the reactors properly in accordance with the procedures they wrote. So it's definitely a highlighted piece there of the sincerity of the organization. All right, here's just kind of an overview of some of the benefits for the NUPOC program. So yeah, this is a collegiate program. It's an opportunity for you to basically get paid to uphold your GPA and then accept a contract into the Navy upon graduation. So as it's written out there, up to 30 months out from graduating for most of our programs, you'll get the military benefits listed there, and then there are some signing bonuses as well, $15,000 to be a Naval Reactors engineer, or if you want to work aboard submarines or aircraft carriers, the bonus is the same. So as I mentioned, 5 years upon commissioning is your obligated service. I know that can definitely sound a little daunting as a college student, a college age student, but I kind of look at it this way: as for someone who's in a physics major and maybe going to get into research, or perhaps maybe look to get into an engineering field or some sort of field like that, as a junior analyst or in a junior position, you're realistically going to be spending several years with your first company, right? I mean, how early do you plan on leaving your first job? So kind of think of it that way. You're probably spending 4 to 5 years at your first company anyway. is a way to look at it. And then just to break it down for the LA area, because the military does pay you differently depending on where you live, it just shows that the monthly total comes out to about $5,800 per month, while you're still in school. It can definitely help out with the groceries.
Yeah, but the monetary benefits is not everything, right? So it's ultimately joining the military. The first thing is you gotta have that sense of, want to be a part of something, want to be like something bigger than like what you're going through. And the monetary and all the benefits is just like icing on the cake there. But it's definitely the longer you stay in, they do reward you handsomely. Yeah.
So here's the overall outline of the different jobs being offered, and we'll get into it with the follow-on slides. So the submarine officer, surface warfare officer, as mentioned, for the submarines or aircraft carriers, and then more of the support roles. So the naval reactor engineer that we spoke about, doing the actual cradle to grave QA work to ensure the safety of our program. And then there's the two schools there that I mentioned that both Tuan and I went to become a submarine lieutenant. And you can become an instructor if teaching is something up your alley. You can become an instructor at one of those schools.
Yeah, and you can kind of see where that idea, that we talk about coming in. So we have people coming in to operate the reactor and do maintenance on them, and we have people coming in to kind of like the supervisory oversight QA role. That's naval, that's the NR engineer, and then we have people coming in as instructor to kind of get trained specifically to train the people coming in to operate. So you can kind of see that how that whole thing kind of involved in there, and how NR kind of does it as a practical things.
Yeah, so to break down the submarine and surface warfare officers, you need to be within 30 months of graduating if you're an undergraduate. I don't think there's any expected graduates here at the presentation, but if you are in a graduate program, you have 12 months until you graduate to join. There's not really a specific major. So I had a guy in my class who was a Spanish major actually, but all you need to ensure is that you have calculus and physics 1 year of each, which as physics majors, I would anticipate any of you having. And then, like I said, there's the signing bonus, and the GPA we're looking at is greater than a 3.0. Tuan, do you want to kind of get into these missions?
Yeah. So that's why we're talking about the people coming in. Not just like an engineer that you want to be, right? So you're there. As soon as you show up on board, you're going to be given a divisions that's going to be working for you. So, like I said, bottom line, you're going to become a naval officer. There's going to be people working for you. So you have to make sure that you, be able to put your, your foot down and lead them. Whatever things you're doing, either just like maintenance. Or just like a simple day-to-day operations, you kind of have to take on that role to lead them. So it's not really a technical or like a technician's position. You're not there to operate push a button or turn a valve. You're there just kind of giving the oversight for those guys that doing the push button and turning the valves. And also, right, since you are going to be a naval officer in the Navy, you're gonna be at some point be facing with be face to face with some adversary. I'm not talking about like anything crazy, go to war or something like that, but we could doing things that maybe like trailing somebody or do some like counter drug operations, and that's like actually something that you will have to do. And then in the end, you're still coming in as an engineer. So that's why we need your expertise in whichever major you're coming in, right? The Navy is going to teach you the nuclear engineering side. At the core, there's a lot of equipment in the Navy. The nuclear reactor alone is, vast in the amount of stuff that's going on, and also on the actual ship itself. It's a lot of different stuff going on that you have to have that kind of background in whatever, right? So all the traditional type of engineering, definitely physics, and maybe a lot of mechanical engineering, electrical engineering to be able to carry it out. So. Yeah. So just real quick about this slide. So the fast stack submarines, it's a platform that we have, and within that platform we have a different class of submarine, and that's just how new is the type of submarine. So the Virginia class is the latest one that we have. And I was not on a Virginia class. I was on the one right before that. So you might hear, the Los Angeles class is actually the backbone of our submarine force, because that's basically, we have the most amount of Los Angeles class sub, and most of them is still in operation. So so I got this slide.
Yeah, so going over to the Ohio class submarine, this is what I was on. So it's an SSBN, and its main mission is strategic deterrence. So we have nuclear missiles on board, and kind of our job is to go out into the ocean and basically get lost. Our bosses don't even know where we are, and they don't want to know where we are. We're kind of out there, at the ready in case the president, was to make, some sort of executive action to launch nuclear weapons. So it's kind of our job. And they say it's the standing leg of the nuclear triad. So nuclear deterrence and is kind of where the warfare is shifting. We don't really have the boots on the ground World War I, World War II type fights anymore. So it's up to the nuclear weapons to kind of assure a mutually assured destruction, right? So no one wants to fire because everyone has nuclear weapons, and that's kind of what we do, because they know where the nuclear missiles are stored in our country for the most part, and they know where our bombers are, or can shoot down our bombers, but the submarines, they don't know where they are. So that's kind of what keeps us, I guess, safe in that aspect. That's our mission. It's not to shoot, it's to provide a deterrence so that other people don't shoot us. So this is just kind of a basic pipeline. Like I said, there's the two schools you'll go to, which is both in classroom-based school in Charleston, South Carolina. There's a hands-on with a nuclear reactor, again, either in Charleston or upstate New York. For submarine specifically, you go for 2 months to kind of learn all about submarines and how they work. And then you'll eventually get out to a 3-year tour at a submarine. So by tour, no, that doesn't mean you're out to sea for 3 years. That means you're just attached with a boat for 3 years, and there's periods where you're in port doing repairs, and that whole side of engineering of fixing and replacing and maintaining. But then also you do go out to sea and you go on deployments, and so there's that actual operational aspect of engineering, which is interesting as well.
Does anyone has any questions so far? Anything that we talked about?
If you have anything, just feel free to unmute. Like I said, we're trying to keep it interactive, so any question that might come up, we're willing to help out.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything that we cover, just anything about Navy or anything about life at all. Okay, I guess we'll continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so our aircraft carriers, pretty awesome, right? So we have, I think, not too many of them. So this is why, just a note on this is that if you do want, to go on the surface side of the nuclear, this nuclear path, the it's not exactly more competitive, but it's just we have fewer position available just because there's not as many folks. So it's a lot harder to combine. But the thing is, just the earlier you are in your academic careers, let's say you're at a sophomore or maybe first year of junior or something like that, those are the time that if you want to higher your chance of getting on surface ships carrier. But so I heard is that there's a lot more work on the surface ship though. So so be aware of that. Next slide. Yeah. So it's lots of different type of missions that we do. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to go over all of them. So next one, please. Yeah, so with the surface warfare officer pipeline is a little different. That you're gonna go to sea first and do your conventional tour, which is lasts about 18 to 21 months. Once you earn your warfare device, basically you're like qualified in the I guess operations and driving of the surface ship. Then you come back around and do your nuclear training pipeline, and then you finally end up at one of the carrier as your remaining thing between 24 to 28 months.
Yeah, so this is something that a lot of people also like, is the conventional sea tour, because the ships are a little bigger, or I guess you'll have a bigger division in general, a bigger team to lead than typically with the nuclear side. So this is a chance for a lot of people to get that early leadership experience. Within a couple months of graduating college, you could have anywhere from 10 to 20 people under your belt, and you're kind of running that division, and you learn a lot of leadership skills and how to deal with people. And it's definitely a transferable skill, something that a lot of your colleagues might not be able to do, if they go into research or they go get a desk job and pore over papers all day. It's not exactly the same as being able to get those interpersonal skills and learn how to, have someone work for you and treat them the right way. And there's a lot that can be gained from that. Yeah, so here's just kind of a overview of the different home ports and areas that you can potentially visit. Basically just giving you an overview of it's quite a dynamic lifestyle. So I know a lot of people that I talk to here want to stay in LA, and that's great, but I think there's also a lot of personal growth that can come from seeing different parts of the world and traveling to the East Coast or living in an area you haven't before, and you can kind of garner some early worldview, as a young person, to be able to go to these different areas and see what Japan is like, or see what Spain is like. So. Tuan, do you want to go over the instructor?
Sure. Yeah. So the instructor. So I just want to go from bottom first. As we go up in the different, I guess, position that we have. We have fleet position. The highest are NR engineers. The instructor is right in the middle. So as we go in that direction, the GPA requirements also go up. So for our fleet, I think if you remember, we were showing, I think, above a 3.0. But I think, the thing about it, it's just a guide, right? So yes, you are eligible to apply if you have a more than 3.0, but I think we really recommend if you coming in with a 3.3 or higher, it's just you will have a higher chance of getting through the interview process. because that's something that you have to go through near the end of the application process. So, so for this one, it's a roughly a 3.4. But like I talked about earlier, it's just, I'm seeing more, if this is something that you want to do, I'm seeing more if you want to be coming in with a 3.5 or 3.6 or higher, better. So the requirement, the other requirement is pretty similar. I think almost the same for all the different paths, is that you're gonna have at least a year of calculus and physics. And if you had taken those classes as an AP class, or you tested into a high class in your college, that's totally fine. We do understand those type of situations. And this one, this the amount of time that you can spend in the program is still the same. So 30 months as undergrad, and 12 months if you go into for your master. Okay, so for Power School, we have a whole separate kind of presentation, or maybe a talk that if you're interested, we can go more deeply on it. But pretty much you're coming in, you can typically pick what topic you want to, what subject you want to teach, and the Navy will train you up in that topic the way the Navy wants you to present the material and the material that the Navy has for it. Yeah, you teach a few classes a day. The work schedule is pretty sweet, just like 9 to 5. You'll teach a few classes and you sit there for office hour the rest of the day, and usually the weekends off. And you have a lot more time, free time for you to take on other like online graduate type of degrees that you want to get during this tour. In contrast to the fleet position that we had, those obviously when you're on the ship and you go in and out to sea, or you go on deployment, it's going to be a lot harder for you to try and do those things. So yeah, this is also a very unique opportunity. Within this unique opportunity, like I said, there's a lot more that we can talk about this if this is something that you might be interested in.
Yeah, I think this is for people who both have an interest in teaching and helping people understand, as well as like Tuan said, it's a unique opportunity because you are joining the Navy, but you don't actually end up deploying and go to sea. There are some people that interest them. It's a military role, yet you're teaching kind of in a schoolhouse-based environment, like you said, weekends off, 9 to 5 type teaching position, which can definitely roll into other type of teaching jobs or type of programs afterward. And then there's the other half of the teaching job, which is the opportunity to work at nuclear power training unit. These are called prototype reactors. They're land-based reactors, or as you see in the bottom right, submarine that is permanently moored to use it as a training facility. So this is a little more operational, a little more hands-on. So your day-to-day will look like standing watching a plant. So it could be anything from starting up a reactor, shutting down a reactor, operating it within its power limits. There's simulations where you get to act out the actions you would take in a casualty situation. You're looking at chemistry within the primary and secondary plants. You're looking at reviewing and approving maintenance procedures to be carried out. So it's kind of more of the hands-on type approach in actually dealing with the reactor plant by teaching the fundamentals. And then finally, we get to the naval reactors engineer. So the difference in this program is you have to be at least 18 months out from graduating. And the reason why is, like I said, it's kind of our best and brightest. So they want to see that you've gotten through more of those sophomore, junior level classes and still have a nice GPA. They want to ensure that you've kind of gone through the ringer. You're not just coming in with a freshman GPA applying. So that's the reason for the 18 months. But like we mentioned, 3.7 again, 3.8 doesn't hurt, but 3.7 will certainly put you in and put in an application for that. And then it can be competitive not only on the GPA, but based on what they need at the time. So physics is pretty nice in that it's versatile and it's usable in a bunch of different fields. So that's I think a point you guys have going for you, as opposed to, let's say, a chemistry major. And if they don't need anyone in chemistry that year, then it will be harder to get accepted. And kind of what they did has been briefly touched upon before, but it's kind of the cradle to grave overview of the program. They work at a DC, and they have a relatively flat organization, which is nice. It's actually a suit and tie job within the military, because they don't want rank to get in the way of making smart decisions and safe decisions for the program. So everyone's kind of on the same level, and everyone's ideas count. I just want to take a moment here before we push on in case there were any questions based on what we've covered so far.
I think there's a question in the chat here. What do nuclear training or nuclear classwork consist of? So yeah, I'll go ahead and answer this question. So the nuclear training, hey, is there a slide for that, Robert?
As far as
yeah, what
like the different classes.
Yeah,
I think there may have been a hidden slide.
Yeah, so the two schools that you go to for the nuclear training pipeline, right? Nuclear power school, nuclear power training prototype. Nuclear power school is pretty much classroom type of kind of like school. So you can see the different classes that go on right here. So they're very fast paced, but the Navy has their own way of want to teach you the nuclear power, right? So they want to kind of make sure that you have the same kind of basic foundation of everything. So it goes from calculus to double E to like heat transfer, and then they definitely throw in a little bit of their stuff like reactor dynamics or the material, the RAPCON type of fundamentals. So the same everywhere you go for the nuclear Navy. So, they teach them right here. And of course, physics, chemistry, and then, a little bit of the operation of the reactor plant. So, I think I even heard this is like the coursework designed by MIT. So, and not just the material, but like the how the pace, everything. Supposedly get everybody, the biggest amount of people, the biggest amount of material that they can cram it to you. That's how they come up with this coursework. So,
does that answer your question, or is there anything specific you were looking for there? I think it was Kenneth. Are there labs within the training? There's not, I guess, labs as you think, as far as like a kind of a school. When you have a lab attached to a physics class, let's say. I think kind of the more hands-on piece is when you go to the prototype and you work with the reactor there. So then you will actually have practice all the different types of chemistry and other sorts of hands-on things required for the plant. So you'll get your hands on beakers and you'll get your hands on being able to draw a sample of water from the radioactive primary system and all the controls that are associated with that. So There are not labs, associated with each of these classes, but you get the hands-on training in different piece. All right. All right. If no one has anything else, we'll kind of move on here. I think we were at the getting into, yeah. So here's kind of the pipeline for the naval reactor engineer. I'm not going to belabor it. You can read it there. But the idea is that they're sending you around to all the different parts of our program to see kind of each piece and to get a broad understanding of the program as a whole. As we mentioned, the NR engineers kind of oversee the program. So they give you the kind of a broader training than just the two basic schools for the other programs. And then one of the schools that they send you to for the Bettis reactor engineering school is transferable in credits to some other master's degrees. So that's an opportunity for people who want to do a couple of years in the Navy and then go try something else. Those credits are transferable. All right, Tuan, you want to get into a little bit of the requirements?
Yeah, so this is just a pretty basic requirements for anybody who wants to become an officer in the United States Navy. So you have to be a U.S. citizen, first of all. And for you to be part of the collegiate program, you have to be a full-time student. So, if you're taking half time for some reason, maybe work on the side or maybe like take a year off or something like that, then you're not allowed to be in the program. And the top secret piece is, not so much that you can do yourself, but we do have a security clearance background investigation will be done on your behalf. You just have to basically fill out a really long form, basically spell out, wherever you have lived, what jobs you held, what school you went to, and there has to be references. Somebody can vouch for you that you actually did those things. So, but they'll do all that once you get to it. So as long as you're not involved in any kind of illegal activities or be susceptible to blackmailing, right? Then you should be pretty good to go for this portion.
And the top secret clearance is also another point that a lot of people like, because like I said, I'm not here to have you join the Navy for 20 years. There's definitely opportunities else out there if you just want to kind of springboard, use this as a springboard to get into other things. And the top secret clearance costs about $100,000 for a private company to obtain, and obviously you'll get it paid for here in the Navy. So it's a great bargaining chip if you want to get out. A lot of people will get a substantial signing bonus because the company doesn't have to pay to give them a TS anymore, or it helps with, hey, we have this one applicant who has a TS and this one who doesn't. They're really close. Obviously, we're going to go with the guy who's already proven himself. So that's just an interesting piece there. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Like I said, we wanted to kind of get through the slides and open up the floor for any questions people might have. We have both of our numbers there, as well as your fearless leader, Sean, has my email. So, if anyone, is interested in applying or just has more questions, feel free to reach out to us, and then obviously we'll open the floor now to anyone that might have questions.
Yeah, so hey, real quick, so that's a picture of me and my divisions when we're in I think Yokosuka, Japan. So like I said, these pictures are not very high def, right? Just a few years back. So if you swim really hard behind those like tree lines in the back and underneath the flag there, the little white cap, that's actually Mount Fuji. So definitely another fun trip that we did. And yeah, just recap, it's a unique opportunity for you to, if you are not too sure what you're going to be doing just yet, how about, spend a few years in the Navy, right? You're going to get all the technical experience that you could get, to gain some confidence, and things to put on your resume to put you a lot further ahead with your peers. Somebody, once you get off in that 5 years to apply for the same job out in the civilian world, or if something that stick with you and you want to do, more years, say on to 20 years. So we do still have the retirement pay afterward. We started 401k in the military already, but that if you can still opt into the pension. Sorry, that's the word I was trying to look for. And yeah, so like I said, the Navy, the Navy, and specifically the nuclear Navy, like reward you handsomely. I think sign on or retention bonus is right around $40,000 a year after the first 5 years. So, and it just goes up after that.
Yeah, so I just had a buddy from my boat who signed his department head contract. So he signed for 7 years at a $40,000 bonus per year for the 7 years. Obviously, it's just a bonus on top of the normal pay. Like I said, can definitely help out with the groceries. But yeah, we have couple questions coming through. I'll just answer them in order. So how do we apply for the program? So just reach out to one of our numbers down there, or like I said, get my email from Sean, and just reach out to us, and we'll talk to you after this or tomorrow, or tomorrow or next week, whenever you have time, and we'll just make sure that you do meet all the kind of requirements that we laid out. And yeah, so the application process, it's not your normal 9 to 5, right? So it is a little meatier of an application. So there's a military physical, which you'll get checked out by a doc, to ensure that you're fit for military duty. And then, like we mentioned, the background investigation is another piece to help you get your security clearance. Then you have the normal meat and potatoes of any application, why you want to join, different forms you need to fill out. And then finally, there's some technical interviews, which are part of the application process. So it's your math, your calculus, and your physics-based questions. Like I said, I was a physics major, and they try to cater it towards your major. So they asked me, some typical, physics and calc questions of, if you shoot a cannonball or a cannon out of a cannonball, what's the optimal angle to get the max distance to 45 degrees to prove that type questions. And we have study guides to help with that. But that's basically the application process in a nutshell. And then another question was, what are some of your favorite moments and highlights during the program? Tuan, do you want to start there?
Yeah. Hey, so real quick about the question earlier. So to apply, you just start talking to one of us, actually. So Lieutenant Elmore and I, we've been doing this for a little while already. So we're pretty much the best we have here in the LA regions. Me personally, I put somebody in within a month and a half, and it just depends on how extensive their medical, history is. It is a rolling type of admission. So there's a board every month. So whenever we're done with the application, we can go ahead and put you up for the interview set. So yeah, definitely just reach out to one of us to get started. Some of my favorite moments, so during the program, all right, obviously you're in school getting paid. So that was pretty awesome. I actually had money, for pay for beer, because the rest of my peers, I actually had to go to take a job or something like that to do that. Definitely had a lot saved up throughout the years, spending on the boat too. So my favorite moments, actually, it's not any kind of singular moment. I would just say, I was up there on the sail of the submarines, right? It's just like cruising through the water, and you had these dolphins that for some reason they just love to like jump across the bow. I guess that's just something, you know, they see like a wake in the water. They like to do that. So it's a pretty awesome sight that I get to experience. So how about you, Rob?
Yeah. So it's funny you mentioned that because, you know, one of my best moments was in the sail as well. So it's kind of hard to describe because I mean, when you think of a sail, you think of like a sail on a sailboat. So the sail really is just that piece that's sticking up out of the submarine. So when the submarine is on the surface, you have that little piece, and there's a guy that sits up top. So as an officer, you will, at least for submarines, you'll get the opportunity to drive the submarine. So to decide which direction you want it to go, where you want to go, depending on you know, the mission at hand, obviously. But you know, it's only you and another enlisted guy, a lookout, we call it. It's only you two often up in the sail. So, you know, you can be up there, you know, out in the middle of the Atlantic at 2 a.m., just you and another guy, and look up and see every star imaginable because there's no lights around. So that's kind of an amazing experience. And then as the bow went through the water, it would hit these photoplankton, and the photoplankton would light up. And so there'd be kind of this glow going around the boat, kind of wherever you went. So that was definitely memorable. And you know, there are other memorable pieces out there as far as kind of a little more high speed stuff. But like I said, you're going to be, at least for submarines, not only working in the engine room, but driving the ship as well. So there are some, you know, some other operations where, you know, you're submerged, and half of the submarine's job is to come up to what's called periscope depth, where it just, you know, sticks the periscope out. So it's kind of cool to come up there and get on the periscope and see a cruise ship go by, and you know, no one knows you're there. So yeah, there's you know, I could go on with the sea stories, but don't want to waste anyone's time. But yeah, I hope that answered your question. I don't think we have any other queued up, but we'll just give it a second here if anyone else has any more questions.
Yeah, no, definitely we have a lot of sea story, and yeah, if anyone interested, just reach out to us. We'll definitely make some time to you know, maybe tell you some. It's definitely you know, not only on the driving the ship. That was kind of a highlight for me, but also I'm a pretty, like, I guess like geek in a way that you know, seeing how like mechanical things work together, and there was just so much of that on the boat, right? So we go through you know, all sort of different type of evolution. So there's like where we had to, you know, go really fast, really quickly. They were just like, what I had to do is basically turning on the let's say the coolant pump to fast speed, and then there's a way that you have to do it to make sure that, you know, the you can ramp up the power pretty quickly, and the way that the whole boat shakes when you accelerate. You know, to max speed, it's definitely pretty cool when I went through it, I guess. Yeah, you know, maybe it doesn't sound as cool when I say it, but I think we have a question here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no problem. I mean, I hope that you guys got something out of it. Like I said, definitely, you might not have heard about it, so if it's something that you know, vibe with you, then definitely think about it, do research on your own, and reach out. We can talk more about it.
Yeah, I think that's all we had, Sean. Thanks for having us by.